Welcome. Welcome, everybody. Hold on. Let's see here. What's going on with that? I don't know if that affects anything. I had my, doesn't matter. Welcome. I am, of course, speaking right now to everybody who's going to be catching this on the replay, as we don't have anyone in the chat just yet. Today, we're going to be talking about the new moon in Scorpio, which is occurring, I believe today is the 20th. Let me double check that. No, it's the 19th. So it's going to be occurring tomorrow in some parts of the world, today in other parts of the world. It's going to be, I think it's like 1:30 something in the morning on the East Coast of the United States. It's going to be, I think, around like 10:30 on the West Coast, other parts of the world. You'll have to do your calculations here. Let's see what time. Yeah, 1:47 a.m. on the East Coast. All right. But we're very much in this energy. This is a massive new moon. They're all massive. I know I say this about every single celestial event that we experience, but it's a big one. Oh, Dennis, I'm so glad you could make it with us today. Hello, Tara. Hello, Julie. Oh, Julie, Tara. Oh, I'm so excited for everybody that I'm seeing, everybody that I'm not seeing. I'm so happy to have you all with me as we're discussing these energies today, these gorgeous scorpionic energies. We're going to take a moment as the chat is filling up to call in our beautiful, benevolent angels, team, and guides to set this beautiful sacred container of energy. Feel that, receive that. Allow yourself to be held in this divine container. Hello, Ty. Hello, Annika. I was hoping you were going to see the message. I know now that we do these live streams sometimes at different dates and times, it's not always as easy for Annika to be on here holding down the chat, and we appreciate it so much when she is. If anybody else is interested in also becoming a moderator, let me know. But yeah, either way, we move through. We have beautiful live streams. Hello, Johnny. All right, we got the whole crew showing up today. We'll see who else shows up. I love it. This is a good start to this live stream. And one thing that people may not realize about me is like there's like remember, we create our reality through our words. So I want to be careful what I say here, but I'll say there are OCD-like tendencies that I work with. So I did my Florida water on my hands, and then I had an open drink kind of next to it. And now like part of me doesn't want to drink it because I'm going to drink it though. I'm sure that it's fine. We'll send a little love light into it. Let me know if there's any weird quirks that you guys have. Like I am like it's absolutely ridiculous, just the things that I go through in my mental body on a daily basis. But we persist, right? It's always good to activate our water, anything that we're eating, anything that we're drinking as it is, right? To set that intention for its divine crystalline blueprint to be reestablished, to infuse it with healing, to infuse it with that beautiful diamondescent light, that luminescent light, that life force energy, right? So it's a good reminder for that. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to claim that I have it. That's why I say I exhibit some tendencies. And it's really only kind of really the onset of it since I've been older. I think as we get more energetically sensitive too, sometimes like we develop more tendencies or different things, or we start, we're very, what is it? Our nervous systems are more receptive, right? We become more open, and sometimes we experience more of these tendencies, I guess we could say. I didn't say anything about it on here because I was kind of testing the waters first before making a big to-do about it, but I was going down the route of experimenting with peptides. And I made the mistake after like all of this painstaking planning for when I was going to start to do it on the day where we had the craziest solar flares. And I had crazy anxiety, and I don't think I'm going to be doing that anymore. So and there's so many different ways that we can explore, you know, optimizing our health, our well-being. But Spirit just keeps bringing me back to infusing my cells with love, loving myself, accepting myself for who I am. I don't know if you guys have. Okay, there we go. I got booted off for a second. I don't know if that was my connection or what there. Hello, Plune. But there's been a big shift, at least for me, over the last couple days. And this could be regarding anything. And I think this new moon in Scorpio has a lot to do with it, as well as the 11:11 gateway. Like we talked about the other day, the 11:11 gateway energies are kind of extended in a sense and throughout the Jupiter retrograde, since Jupiter stationed retrograde on the 11:11 portal until March 11th is when Jupiter is going to station direct in Cancer. And so we're within that gateway. We're moving toward the solstice, the 12/12, 12/21 gateway. There's so much energy going on right now that we are experiencing with all of that. So many transitions, so much integration that's going on. And this new moon particularly, I do feel it linked to that though. As I said, just like this final little subtle shift in a really positive direction around things that I've been, I guess you could say, working on for quite some time that finally feel like they're aligning or integrating or falling into place. So you all let me know how you're feeling that energy, whether you're experiencing that in some level of your life. This new moon in Scorpio is very much a rebirth. So we're experiencing that rebirthing energy, that regeneration. It really feels like these energies that we've been working through, whatever it is that we've been working to create, there's like a bringing that fully online that many of us are experiencing right now. Just to get a little bit of background here on what we have going on with the planets. With this new moon in Scorpio, we have Mercury retrograde exactly conjunct the sun and the moon. We also have Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio, 2 degrees away. And then we have Venus in Scorpio, 10 degrees away from Black Moon Lilith. So I'm calling her part of the stellium. We also have on the other side, Mars, who is approaching the great attractor. He's now at 11 Sag, 14 is where the great attractor resides. So within the frequency of the great attractor. And of course, that whole stellium in Scorpio is opposing Uranus, who is back in Taurus at 29 degrees of Taurus, and Sedna at 1 degree of Gemini. So there's a lot of intensity there. We have this beautiful grand water trine still going on between Jupiter and Cancer, Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, and all of these gorgeous planets in Scorpio. So there's a lot of energy supporting us here in this transformation, supporting us in whatever this final clearing is that we're moving through. And I say final relative to the journey that we're on right now, right? Because there's nothing's final. Even I almost said nothing's final until we die, till we transition. But even then, like this is the dream, right? This isn't the reality. This is the dream. So even then, nothing's final. It's just this incarnation is completed from one perspective, right? So, but this emotional clearing, the way that I've been viewing Mercury retrograde, this current Mercury retrograde that we're in that goes until the 29th, is very much beginning in Sagittarius and the very early degrees of Sagittarius, bringing through the new ideas and perspectives that are ready to be shifted, the belief systems, the way that we view ourselves and our world. And then as we're able to identify that and identify what we're ready to shift, Mercury moves into Scorpio and takes us through that journey into the underworld, into our unconscious, our subconscious, to unearth whatever it is that we need to understand in order to truly be able to make that shift. And for many, I think we will see really the integration of that process completing as the shadow period for Mercury completes, and Mercury then moves back to where he began the retrograde in those early degrees of Sagittarius. And I'm actually going to look up for you guys right now when that is, for myself as well, because of course I didn't, in true fashion, I did not write that down. Let's see. December 16th is what I'm getting right now. Let me Let me check that against my chart here and see where Mercury is going to be then. Yep, that looks right. So around mid-December is when we're going to have Mercury returning into those degrees of Sagittarius that it was in. So we can even say really the beginning of December, right? Like second week of December-ish, because as soon as Mercury hits Sagittarius again, that's when this integration process really goes into full gear here. But this is a whole process of uncovering, unearthing. What are those? And I can speak at least from my own personal experience with this. It hasn't really been so much about unearthing. It's been really, for me so far, more of a shifting, where it's the releasing, it's the alchemizing of those energies that were perhaps holding me back, or those stuck points, without really a whole lot of conscious work on my part. Except just being present for what's going on in my reality and being observational of it. And then realizing that my reactions to things have changed. My perception of situations and even myself is shifting. And it's all just happening organically. So this new moon to me feels a lot like a falling into place. Like things finally falling into place. For some, there is going to be that purging, clearing, releasing, right? Scorpio energy, very much about the depths, right? The darkness in some cases, what's hidden, the shadow, the unconscious. But it's like with Mercury retrograde there as well, it's bringing the conscious, the unconscious into the conscious. And it's not a matter of working through it. It's just about viewing it, observing it, seeing it. All right, that's the message that Spirit wanted to get through. We're going to get there. Yeah. Yep. It's interesting. It's like, even like, I don't know, little things that used to kind of bother me so much less now. There's like a new sense of freedom that I feel like I'm stepping into. So let me know if that's something that you're experiencing as well. Your ex was a Gemini. I've got one of those too. Yeah. Then again, I've got a good deal of Gemini placements in my chart too, so I can't talk too much shit there. Oh, everything's a reflection, right? In some regard. Well, thank you for joining us for as long as you could, Johnny. Yeah, I'm going to look in the chat a little bit. Sometimes it gets distracting, especially when people are being ignorant in the chat. Annika does a good job of weeding those people out, but and I never really took it personally, but I'm caring less and less because, we're all human. We all have an ego. So there's still little twinges you get sometimes when people are just saying ignorant stuff to you. You know what I mean? But it's like less and less, but it's still like, it can be distracting sometimes. And even just all the good positive comments, sometimes it's hard to keep, it's like trying to keep two flows of consciousness going at the same time. You know what I mean? That's why I like to take little breaks here. I see Tara is here as well. We got a couple Taras on here today. I love that. Jessica. Oh, I was just watching one of your videos on TikTok, Jessica. I love that. I appreciate you so much. You're awesome. Yeah, I've had a lot of really low points over the past. October for me was really rough. I'm feeling like I'm moving through it now. I had to take a lot of time to myself. I had a lot of external stuff going on as well. So that's why you guys didn't see me so much. And now I'm feeling like I'm really moving through that energy into like a whole new state of being. Something that I've been desiring and moving toward for a long time, but I couldn't feel myself fully aligned with. That's what I've been trying to. It's like sometimes you're trying to describe these things that are so difficult to explain. So it takes a few tries to get it going, right? But that, I think, is sort of a representation of this energy and what's possible with this energy right now. I I just did a reading for Tik Tok, and it was really fascinating. What was coming through was this energy of the integrations of the 888 portal from 2024. When we talked, if those of you who've been members on this channel for a while will probably remember, we talked about the walk-ins of the higher self. And that process has been integrating for quite some time now. And so some of us in this collective are getting ready to begin seeing kind of like that energy finally beginning to click into place as that integration or that leg or level of that integration completes itself, which is really powerful. Hello, Jamie. Yes, yeah, Saturn. So we have, I don't know if I mentioned or not, we have Jupiter in Cancer, Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, and the stellium in Scorpio, with the concentration being connected to Mercury retrograde, the sun and the moon right now in a grand water trine. And there's been some version of a grand water trine going on most of the last month or so, really, between Jupiter and Cancer, Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, and then whoever else has been hitting those points around Scorpio. We've had different planets sort of moving through. It's kind of like musical chairs when it comes to that last part, where the planets just keep moving through and just become part of that grand water trine. Oh, and there's something powerful to that. It's like an activation. It's like as these planets move into that receiving point, that's what that open end of that grand water trine is. That's the receiving point, where they're receiving this beautiful energy from Mercury retrograde, Saturn and Neptune retrograde. And there's a cleansing, there's a clearing, a purification that's going on, particularly where they're entering the Scorpio point, which is very much about that energy of alchemy, transformation, purification. So this is really powerful to have the new moon happening conjunct that point, especially connected to exactly conjunct Mercury retrograde, all at that 28 degree of Scorpio point. There is a real synthesis of energy here. There's something that has been hidden that is coming to light. Something that we're seeing or integrating, right? In sort of what I was trying to explain there with what my experience has been of this energy. Something that we're integrating, something that's coming full circle, something that was hidden that's being revealed and brought into the conscious awareness. So that, because remember, when we illuminate anything within the shadow, it's for the purpose of integration. It's not so that we can discard it and throw it away. Right? It's an aspect of our psyche. It's an aspect of our experience. We're here to integrate that, right? An aspect of ourselves so that we can become more whole. We become more whole by integrating the shadow, not by throwing it away, not by dismissing it, not from hiding from it, and not from like overcoming it, right? Oh yeah, absolutely. So Sam, you should check out, a couple weeks ago, we did a channeling on 3i Atlas. We did a live stream on that. It's going to be in the live stream. Actually, I don't know if it'll be in I think on everyone's, if you go to the channel page, if you click on live streams, it'll show. It was just a few weeks ago that we did it. It was really powerful. So some astrologers take into account these things. I operate with cosmic or galactic astrology. So this is something that I focus on maybe a bit more than some other astrologers. And Umuama, are you talking about Hermea? Or is that Umamawa? I'm not familiar with that. I am familiar with Hermea, which we actually talk about quite a bit because Hermea is in the sign of Scorpio, the early degrees of Scorpio, actually conjunct the Shapley attractor and has been for a little while now. And that is a banger of an alignment right there, being that Hermea represents transformation, the original creatrix energy, right? Our ability to regenerate. And that Scorpio energy is all about regeneration as well. And the Shapley attractor is about power. It's about the mysteries of life. It's about what is underneath the surface guiding everything. The cigar-shaped one. Oh, are you talking about the other? I don't want to call 3i Atlas a comet because it's not really a comet, right? But the other body, the other interstellar body, that one of the ones that was also traveling on a similar trajectory. I know there were a few of them. Yeah, I don't get so much into the other ones, but I definitely have looked into 3i Atlas. And the fact that 3i Atlas is moving, so we had the new moon last month in Libra, and that was actually exactly conjunct 3i Atlas. So that might be another video that you want to watch after this one, if you're curious, because that was, oh my God, that was a massive new moon. And then I think after that video, or maybe that was maybe a live stream, we did the channeling into 3i Atlas specifically. And I found so many things, like what came through for me was a bit different than what's come through for quite a few other people. What I got was that it's actually a piece of a planet that's like a 12D version of Earth. And the seeders of this galaxy are actually the ones who inhabit that planet. And they are a collective consciousness that is unified with their planet. And so that planet holds their consciousness. So that's what came through in our live stream. And that is passing by Earth, and it's helping to dissolve density. It's helping to open and activate our heart chakras, to help activate our remembrance of our cosmic ancestry, and really unlock some of those codes and memories within our DNA. So really, really powerful stuff. So 3i Atlas was, from our vantage point on Earth, conjunct the sun and the moon during that new moon in Libra. Now 3i Atlas is coming the closest to Earth that it will be. So it had its perihelion, which is its closest point to the sun, later on in October. It was like the 29th, I think. And now it's moving into its closest connection to Earth. And that's what we're going to be experiencing through the end of December. And Stephen Burns, if you don't follow him, he is like the greatest authority on 3i Atlas. He looks through the lens of the metaphysical, but he also has a very science and astrology-based way of looking at it too. And I go to him when I want to learn more stuff about it, because he is always watching it, and all of the like deep space, right? He's cosmic weather. I think that's one of the things that he calls himself. He's fantastic. And I remember most recently when I watched one of his videos on 3i Atlas, he was talking about how it was like shooting just like erupting sparks of color or something like that. And it keeps changing its color. It's doing miraculous things because it is miraculous, right? It's here to remind us of the beauty and the miracle that we are, and of, like we said, our multidimensionality, and release those layers of density. And it was really interesting because that new moon occurred in the final degrees of Libra. It was actually 28 Libra, and now we have a new moon at 28 Scorpio, right? 28 Libra is conjunct the Shapley attractor, as well as the Shapley attractor is focused most powerfully in the around 2 degrees of Scorpio, but it also exists in the later degrees of Libra. And a lot of the people that we would consider sort of the hidden hand behind the events that occur in this world, that hold positions of power and influence, have points particularly conjunct the Shapley in the late degrees of Libra. So it was really interesting to see that new moon and 3i Atlas at that point. And then Hermea a few degrees away at 2 degrees of Scorpio, right conjunct that Shapley during that new moon. It was like that energy. We're still feeling and integrating the effects of that, right? The dissolving of the old guard was one of the things that I said, is I felt its significance, because it was impacting very specifically the natal charts of all of those hidden hands within this reality, right? So the dissolving of the old guard and the dissolving and releasing of density within us. And I'm so glad that you brought up 3i Atlas, because now I'm seeing here that this is all very connected to what I'm describing right now, this whole process that I was just describing to you all, of those final pieces of integration with our higher selves, of feeling like a lot of the work that I've been doing is finally clicking into place. It's finally internalizing. It's because of the dissolving of density that 3i Atlas also helped to facilitate, and that new moon helped to facilitate. So now we're new moon to new moon. We're about 30 days out from that, experiencing this new moon in Scorpio, this cleansing, this clearing, this ability, this opportunity to release what is not aligned with this new timeline that we're getting ready to really fully merge onto. It's kind of like the way Spirit's showing it to me right now is 2024 was the quantum leap year through consciousness. 2025 has been the integration year, right? The releasing, the integration, the continually letting go. And if we look at it like a highway, we can look at 2025 as the on-ramp, right? So we were on one highway in 2024. We got off that highway. Now we've been on the on-ramp in 2025, getting ready to merge onto the new highway. The new highway is a new timeline. And that's what we begin to fully access as we move into 2026. So I really like that analogy that just came through there. Hello, Diane, by the way. I'm looking forward to connecting with you. So happy you're here on the live stream. If you are who I think you are. When will this shitstorm be over? I mean, it's going to be over for different people when it's over for different people. That's the thing. We all control our individual reality, even though we do not control the collective reality. But as we continue to take more control of our individual reality, we are then able to play a greater role of influence in the stabilization and the transformation of the outer collective reality as well. Right? So we just stay rooted, grounded, centered within ourselves and let the storm erupt all around us, but we don't have to get dragged into it. And sometimes it happens, right? The chaos. Like I said, last month, there was all kinds of chaos going on with loved ones, with family, as well as with my own self. It doesn't mean that we don't participate sometimes, but we can still participate from a rooted and grounded place. Hello, Tharoon. Welcome. Yes, welcome. Oh, yeah, absolutely, Sam. If you look through... And hello, Rosie, and welcome as well. If you look through my playlist, Sam, you'll see that I am very well aware, and we as a channel are very well aware of what exists out there, right? I practice entity removal as well as some other techniques, or hypnosis healing. We practice shielding on here out of sovereignty, not out of fear. We have very strict parameters with who and what we are connecting with, because of that very reason. So yeah, you want to be careful. You want to know who and what you're channeling. You don't want to put yourself out there. Be completely open because there is all kinds of stuff within this varied experience of reality, right? And once again, it's about being sovereign in our own being and being very selective and discerning about who and what we're communicating with. Just as we're very selective and discerning about where we put our attention, where we put our intention, what we allow into our field, what we consume through what we view, what we listen to. There's so many different layers to this, and we go into a lot of this stuff on this channel. So you will probably be right at home here if understanding and navigating those nuances of this reality is something that you are interested in. Absolutely. Okay. So what are we going to do here? We're going to talk a little bit more about this energy. We're definitely going to pull some cards. Oh, I have a different chart pulled up now. There's a lot of divine feminine activation going on, right? With Black Moon, Lilith, and Venus involved in this new moon, as well as Hermea, like we said. Also on the outskirts of the stellium, she's way early, right? Kind of like the placeholder, if you will, for all the energies that are building after her as we move into what we might call the true stellium of all the planets that are connected by 10 degrees or so. So there's a lot of this. And what I'm feeling is, yes, this is definitely a transformation, an activation for our divine feminine. Remember, we all hold both of these essences within us, regardless of gender, how we identify, right? But even more so, it's like the divine feminine assisting and guiding us through this integration, through this process. It's like this, it's almost like being in this sacred womb. As we move through this new moon in Scorpio, this womb that is holding us, that is containing us, right? A lot of times we think about the masculine energy when we think about containment. But if you think about the energy of the womb, it is very much a container. Right? So we're being held in this beautiful container as we experience this rebirth, this metamorphosis, and it's coming through a change in our thinking, a change in our perspective, represented by that gorgeous Mercury retrograde. So a lot of the rest of this retrograde, like we said earlier, is going to be about integrating this energy. And remember, much of the way that we integrate energy is by being presented with situations where our default mechanism wants to come in and behave the way that we used to bring in that old perspective and the actions and reactions that are a product of that old perspective. But we get that chance to do something different. I was just talking about with a friend of mine before this live stream today about that energy. and sort of that theme. So that's kind of where a lot of us are at, is we're going to continue to get those opportunities as Mercury moves through its retrograde and probably beyond, right? To practice the old energy or the new energy. So what is it that we are choosing? This is how we rewire right? When we talk about neuroplasticity, rewiring the brain, right? This is how we rewire the brain by consistently making those new choices that align with our new paradigm. Yeah. Oh yeah. Annika's a boss when it comes to that. All right. I always want to pull from this deck because I'm just having so much fun with it. The Astro Persona Oracle. So we're going to pull a couple cards from this to get started for this new moon in Scorpio here. And I almost feel like, in a sense, like in the beginning of these live streams when I'm just rambling and kind of incoherently, I'm kind of like a babbling drunk sometimes, I think, when I start getting going here in these live streams. I feel like it kind of like filters out the people that maybe aren't meant to be on the stream. Like, you guys all bear with me because you're like, we're going somewhere that makes sense eventually. Like, she'll get it together here. You know, other people are like, okay, I'm out. Like, I'll see you later. So we finally reached the point of coherence in this live stream. Hello, Martin. Oh, it's so great to see you. Talk about a Mercury retrograde surprise. I haven't seen you on here in a while, Martin. Oh, one of our OG members stopping in. I'm tuning, not babbling. Thank you, Tara. I appreciate that. I like that actually quite a bit. Yeah, like tuning into the frequency, tuning into the energy, tuning into the collective, right, that I'm channeling for, tuning into my own higher guidance. I like that. I don't spend enough time sometimes doing that sort of before the live stream. So I do spend the beginning of that. See, you're all so smart. You were all so tuned in and tapped in. I love it. I absolutely love it. You know what's going on. Oh. Okay. What do we need to know? Oh, here's a card. Oh, some of these cards are upside down. What do we have here? We have Uranus in the 10th house upside down and Capricorn rising. Interesting. So Capricorn, a lot of Capricorn energy there. We're going to put those to the side and see if they feel relevant. Here we go, you guys. I always turn the heat up too much when I get going to my office here, and then I start channeling and it gets way too hot. So give me a second. I got to turn the heat down. There we go. Yay, welcome to winter. The zodiac still says it's fall, but let me tell you, if you live in the Northeast or even like probably the Midwest right now, it's winter. Yes, tarot time. All right, those came jumping out here. We have Neptune in the 7th, or Neptune in Libra, and Pluto in the 5th house, or Leo. Interesting. So there's a lot of this partnership energy coming through, these deep soul ties, soul connections here. So I feel for some that we are going to be experiencing, not just with this new moon. Remember, we're not just reading for the new moon. We're reading for the energies it brings up, the energies it evokes, and what transpires as a result. And thank you, Dee. This is actually my mom's scarf that she left here. And I have been honoring it by wearing it. I've decided I think I need one. It's like an old school tarot deck kind of vibe. So I'm pretty into it. I was waiting for somebody to compliment it. I'm like, come on, this scarf is amazing. Nobody said anything about it yet, but you know. Yeah. 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 Oh, thank you, Annika. Yeah, I just did, so little before we get into the tarot, I just did a micro needling kind of treatment thing with my face. So that's why I got a very, very clean face going on right now. It was a very interesting and actually strangely enjoyable experience that I wasn't expecting. So it's cellular renewal, cellular regeneration, collagen regeneration, and energy release. That was the thing that was the most interesting to me, was I could see the colors like I see when I do energy work or I receive energy work, even when I get certain body work, the energy releasing or moving. So it was really fascinating. It was like I realized that it was literally releasing the old stagnant energy from my skin tissue, from the cells in my skin. So I don't know, it was actually a really cool experience, much more than what I expected when I went in. So I may not be for everyone, but I highly recommend it. Just as a little aside there. So but any of these things, you know what I mean? Any of these things that we can do to start moving the energy within our bodies, that's been feeling very important to me. Detoxification, cleansing, clearing of the body, stabilization within the self. You know what I mean? As we're moving through this window, remember, this is the on-ramp right now. The on-ramp toward 2026, toward this new timeline that we're merging onto. So we want to get as grounded, as stabilized, as clear in body, mind, and spirit as we can as we move toward that energy. Something interesting, and any of you who follow this channel know that I'm not into fear mongering. I'm very much into this, like, I firmly believe that we can change our reality at any time. We are that powerful. So when people say like people are going to get stuck in one reality, they're not going to be able to shift into the new, what some call the new earth, what some call the new timeline, whatever it is, if they don't basically get their shit together. You know what I mean? Like, I don't believe that. I believe it's always possible, right? We can always shift our consciousness. Do I believe it's going to become more difficult? Yes, sure. But it is absolutely possible. So I don't go into the fear mongering, but it is really fascinating. I was watching this woman who was a little bit more on the fear mongering side. She tried not to be, but I know she was also, she was doing the stuff that I'm not the greatest at, right? Like the drama to get the views and get people to keep watching and whatever. But she was talking about how Edward Casey, and for those of you who don't know who Edward Casey is, Edgar Casey they called him the sleeping prophet. And so he would go into these trance-like states, and he channeled a lot of it was healing information, like medical healing information, but he also made a lot of different prophecies and things like that. And he was found to be very, very accurate in his predictions and the things that he saw. So I always say Edward, but it's Edgar Casey. And I believe it's Edgar. I always get confused. Somebody let me know if you know who I'm talking about. And then Dolores Cannon, through her writings, and I'm a big fan of Dolores Cannon. The aura hypnosis healing that I do is essentially sort of an evolution, in a sense, of her QHHT therapy. She was a pioneer in hypnosis, past life regression, regressing people to the soul level, recording these sessions the same way that I record my aura sessions and the other aura practitioners, as well as the QHHT practitioners do. And both of them, through Dolores's hypnosis sessions with clients and Edgar Casey's channelings, predicted the end of 2025 as a massive turning point in the vibrational shift. Dolores called it the split from the new earth and the old earth. Edgar Casey called it just ascension, I believe, just generalized ascension. But they looked at 2025 as the end of 2025, December specifically, I believe, as this huge turning point of energy. All right, so like I said, I don't believe that after December, after we move into 2026, nobody's going to have an ability to move off the path that they've chosen, right? That's like, let's get that out of our heads. But it is a very significant gateway of energy that we're in right now. And even some of these channelings from some of these well-known and well-respected people allude to this same period of time, which is really fascinating, I think. Edward Casey in the sunshine. That's somebody else, Ploon. Yeah. He said, who, Edgar Casey taught about castor oil? That's interesting. Or you're thinking of somebody else, I think. He's not alive anymore. He was alive a very long time, not a very long time ago, but when was, I want to see when he passed away, because it was let's see, lifespan. That should give us what we're looking for. He was born in 1877 and he died in, or transitioned in 1945 at 67 years old. So this is the Edgar Casey that I'm talking about. But apparently there is an awesome Edward Casey who does some really beautiful meditations and sound healings. I love that. Johnny. All right, moving back. Let's we're talking about the importance of this gateway of energy, right? And remember, a segue, a tangent, there's always a reason that we go down these routes. Roots, grounded. Now we could do like a whole free association thing here. There's always a reason we go down these different routes. So the importance of cleansing, clearing, detoxifying. That was the energy that was coming through here. Yes. All right. So moving forward, tapping back into the reading here. I love that we have mysterious agenda here. Mercury and Scorpio. Ooh, perfect. On the bottom of the deck. So we have this spiritual partnership energy. So this to me is feeling very much like, and there's no mistake that we were talking about the new moon in Libra, right? Libra being the seventh house. Libra being that energy that represents partnerships, commitments, connections, contracts, right? So this is soul contracts coming up for revision, soul contracts that are completing, and we're having the opportunity to decide whether we want to sign back on. It's kind of like when you get a record deal or something, right? Or a publishing deal. It's like you sign on for a certain amount of time and then it's time to renegotiate the contract. So this is going on for some soulmates, twin flames, other types of relational constructs. It's like the deconstruction of relational constructs is what I'm feeling here. This is part of that. Remember, we talked about the releasing of density, the shaving away of density and illusion here, right? Neptune represents illusion. So this is something that we're experiencing and we're going to be continuing to experience as we move toward that new timeline. Is this energy here of these renegotiating of contracts, these completion of soul contracts. Neptune right now is back in those final degrees of Pisces. So this is a big clearing out of that energy. And remember, we talked about how Neptune is part of the grand water trine that we have going on with this new moon. So we're really, especially with Saturn there, that emphasis of that energy of constructs or contracts rather. I just read Dee's comment is really highlighted here. So we're looking at this. We're looking at our relationships, our connections. What is soul-centered? And we arguably, we could say every connection is, right? But which connections, relationships of mine are truly coming from a place of soul-centered, mutual respect, agreement, growth? And which ones have I essentially outgrown, right? Which ones are ready to grow with me? Which ones have I outgrown? And I'm feeling like Spirit's also saying, this is a time to see the sacredness in every connection and every experience and to honor that, even if we need to disengage from some of those connections. And for some, and this is so funny, this was also coming up in the conversation earlier today, it's not about even like removing people from our lives. It's just about learning how to relate to them in a way that is balanced, in a way where we are giving what we have to give without over giving too much at the depletion of ourselves. And for some people, it's about the completion. For some people, especially with Mercury retrograde, 5 planets retrograde right now, right? We got Saturn, we got Neptune, we got Uranus, we got Mercury, we've got Jupiter. We may be revisiting some of those old soul contracts, those old connections in order to clear them out. Especially remember, this isn't just any old retrograde for all these outer planets. This is their final retrograde into these signs that they've been in, some of them since like 2018. 2011 for Neptune, so that we can complete those larger cycles of energy. All right, so this is major closeouts, major completions. And for some, when I talk about renegotiating the contract, it's just like, okay, we learned what we came to learn from each other. Is there more to learn? This is what your souls are kind of convening about on a higher level to decide. All right, and if there's more to learn, you may see people re-enter your life. But you got to be able to tell the difference, because some are re-entering because there's more to learn. Some are re-entering just to close the cycle, to complete the cycle. And some of this re-entering doesn't even necessarily have to be physical. They may be re-entering in your dream state. They may simply be energetically re-entering. And you can sense that they're energetically re-entering in order to close out this contract or renegotiate this contract, because they're within your mind again. You're thinking of them more. You're noticing the synchronicities that remind you of them more. Okay? And just know and trust that this is negotiating on a higher level. Unless you feel intuitively guided to reach out, there's nothing that you really need to do. Everything will work itself out. Hello, Michael. Welcome. Cosmic washing machine, 5 retrogrades. Amen to that, Sky Dancer. All right. So we've got this Pluto in the 5th house energy here as well. So this is about charisma. This is about center stage. This is about moving in the world in confidence, knowing yourself, knowing your worth, pursuing that which you are passionate about. So there's a magnetism, a sense of magnetism here with Pluto in the 5th house. All right, because this is Sun energy, this is Leo energy with that 5th house. So people are perhaps getting very inspired during this energy. You may have old inspirations coming back up. A fire that sort of was dimming out being reignited here. That's part of this energy, what I'm feeling for this collective here. There could also be creative partnerships coming through for people. People that inspire you, people that light you up, people that share a similar passion. Could be romantic, could be friendship, could be business. It's going to be different for different people. But it's like those fires of inspiration are being lit. And it's interesting, as I was saying this about like, could be romantic, could be business, could be whatever. I saw this mysterious agenda, this Mercury in the 8th house card on the bottom of the deck again, right? 8th house is the Scorpio house, the Pluto house. So this is interesting. I feel like for some, there's going to be people entering our reality, and we may not be sure what part they're meant to play when they first come in. And what Spirit's saying, and this is my favorite thing about life actually, or one of my favorite things, is the fact that like you can meet somebody and have no idea what kind of role they're going to play in your life later down the line, right? That's why you never dismiss anybody. All right? Never think that you know. That person that you meet that you kind of like brush off could end up being your best friend, your lover, your soulmate, right? We have no idea. If you look back at some of your closest friends, romantic partners, whatever, when you first met them, did you have any idea who they would be to you now? That's some of the greatest magic of life, in my personal opinion. So it's kind of like that energy. Spirit's saying, don't write anybody off. Don't put anybody in a box, because the people coming into your reality may play very different roles from what you're expecting that they're going to play. And this could also be a time, remember we said renegotiation of soul contracts, a time when people who played one role in your life suddenly get a different role. I just heard demoted or promoted, but I don't like to think about it like that, right? Because nothing is more important than anything else. Every type of relationship and connection holds its own sense of importance. But some people, it's like what was a lover may become a friend. Who was a friend may become a lover, right? A business partner may become a love interest, or vice versa. So your frenemy could become your best friend. This energy, it's like anything goes. People are going through such radical shifts that like we have no idea. The energy is very different. It's very mysterious, but I'm really enjoying this. There's also this deep energy of learning. It's like seeing behind the veil, seeing behind the facade. So people aren't going to be able to put on a show the way they used to. People's true faces are going to be revealed. Their true intentions, their true motivations. Ooh, we got a lot of Neptunian energy here. We've got Neptune in the 10th house, Neptune in Capricorn. And it's interesting because that drew me back over to the Uranus in the 10th house, Capricorn energy, and the Capricorn rising. So a lot of Capricorn energy going on here, meaning a lot of 10th house energy, a lot of career changes for people maybe. Shifts when it comes to focus, shifts when it comes to where we're putting our energy, what it is that we're striving towards, developments when it comes to legacy as well. When it comes to, it's like, I think we talked, I don't know if it was on here or on TikTok, where we were talking about like the spiritual promotion. I feel that energy is coming through really strongly again, where people are getting promoted. They've completed. And so this is like your own personal soul contracts, right? You've completed a certain level of training, so to speak, and you're ready to move on to the next level. So for some people, this is like the big break they've been waiting for. For some people, this is like the thing that kept getting delayed. Remember, we've been talking about that for a long time now, right? Blessings being delayed, feeling like we were moving forward only to get pulled backwards again, that energy. All right, this energy, and Spirit saying it's not just this new moon. This is going to be the energy, like as we move, we complete 2025, moving into 2026. All right, so we're tapping into energies at the beginning of 2026. And actually, I want to look something up real quick. But the eclipse is 2026. Springtime eclipses. All right, solar eclipse in Aquarius in February. Total lunar in Virgo in March. Total solar in August in Leo. And lunar in Pisces. So we've got Leo, Aquarius, and Virgo, Pisces axis active here. And that Virgo, Pisces axis, so around, during the 999 portal, right, we had an eclipse in Pisces, a really powerful, I believe it was a total lunar eclipse in Pisces. So that, when we have this eclipse in Virgo in March, that's going to be connected to that lunar eclipse in Pisces in September. And there's something that's going to be coming through then. Something that's going to be full circle, something that was delayed, something that was foretold for some. Ooh, oh, interesting. I know who this message is for. Finally coming to pass. What was foretold is finally coming to pass. What was set in motion, okay? So whatever was set in motion during that 999 portal, during that energy, there's a completion of that. And that's where some people are going to start seeing this energy coming through. The people that I read for on this channel are the leaders of the new earth, right? That's why you're here. Here, I mean, well, yes, here in a sense, right? Incarnated, but also why you're here on this channel. So there's going to be, it's like many of us are in a final sort of fine-tuning process, grooming process, if you will, even though that sounds kind of creepy. You know what I mean? Because you never hear people being groomed for good things a lot of the time, right? But this is like groomed for leadership, to step into and embody your true frequency, your true power. Because like we said, we're on the on-ramp right now. As we move into 2026 and beyond, this is where the paradigm shift becomes really apparent, right? This is where all these are, this is interesting what Spirit's showing me now. It's like all these people too, who chose the new timeline, the timeline of love, the timeline of faith, right? The new earth timeline, as some like to call it, the ascension timeline. A lot of these people, they didn't really know what they were choosing. Many of them didn't even know they were choosing. They were just living their lives in love, in harmony, in being the best person that they could every single day, making the choices that felt aligned for them out of love within their own hearts. And those people are going to start waking up. They're going to be like, whoa, What's going on here? You know what I mean? And they're going to need guidance. And that's where we all come in. That's where you come in. To be that guide, to be that lighthouse that says, let me explain to you what's going on right now. Let me explain to you where you are, what's happening. All right. Oh, I love that, Leroy. That's awesome. That shows that your vibration, where your vibration's at, right? They're perceiving of your light, even if they don't recognize it. Okay. So like we are being trained to be those lighthouses, to be the ones that can sit down with people and be like, all right, let me tell you a couple things. And they need you. They need you. They need you in your power, though. They need you in your healed state. And yes, healing is an endless process, right? But at a certain level of healing, at a certain level of frequency. And that's what we're moving into. That's what we're being prepared for right now. As Neptune comes through dissolving that ego, dissolving the old self, as this new moon in Scorpio assists us in being reborn into that new self. Uranus right now, remember, Uranus and Taurus is opposing this new moon. Uranus and Taurus is all about moving us back for one last time into that Taurus energy to shake us loose from that comfort zone that we haven't quite been willing or able to release yet. To really imbue within us that new sense of purpose, that new sense of value, of self, of what matters to us in the world, and that courage to go after it, to embody it, to live it. Oh, Dee, I love that. He said, what's happening is the earth is waking up after a long slumber and she loves us bunches. She sure does. And I love you all. Hi, Sophie, beautiful. All right, so there's this energy of, so what is our task, right? We talk about we're being groomed to be the leaders of the new earth in the sense of like the ones that people look to. And this is without ego, right? The ego is what's being dissolved right now. Not because we're better, not because we're more important, not because of any of that BS, right? Simply because we chose to come here and awaken first. Because we programmed into our DNA these specific times that we would begin to activate. Because yes, we were brave enough, right, to take that on. Because we knew that we could do it, because we wanted to do it. All right. So in order to prepare to do this, to be prepared for this, we have to be, that's one of the things. Some of us, our ego has been being broken down for a really long time. Some of us it's taken longer than others. This has been a process for me, right? The ego is being broken down. And I'm not saying we don't have an ego, right? Because the goal is not to completely eradicate the ego. We wouldn't be able to exist in this dimension without an ego. The ego, I have a little bit of a radical point of view on the ego. At least it seems radical to me compared to a lot of people in the spiritual community, where like, I don't think we ever completely release the ego until we return to source, right? Because what is the ego? The ego is what separates us from source. What allows us to identify ourselves as an individual being, sovereign being. So as long as we are fractalized to any extent from source, we recognize ourselves as somewhat separate, right? We may have an understanding that we are of source, that we are inherently part of source because we are of source, but we're experiencing ourselves as, anytime we can think of the self as an external entity, there's a sense of ego. All right, so we're not completely eradicating the ego, but we're releasing the aspects of the, like the density of the ego is decreasing, just like everything else. It's a different level of perception of self, what it means to be separate. All right, and diminishing, it's like we recognize ourselves as important without seeing that as something that initiates hierarchy. I guess that's one way that we could put it here. So we're releasing the ego, this evolution of the ego right? We're releasing some of those old habits, some of those old coping mechanisms that aren't serving. We're releasing some of these perspectives that are keeping us stuck, keeping us stagnant, right? There's a mastery. There's a mastery of the physical, the mental, and the emotional that we're going through right now in order to be prepared for this. There's a moving into the heart, an activation within the heart, an unlocking of the heart chakra so that we can see, think, speak, and perceive from a higher level, from a level of consciousness that is more connected to and imbued with unconditional love. We're unlocking our power, but we're doing that in tandem with wisdom, with compassion. And compassion for ourselves, for many, is kind of one of the final hurdles. Because we've developed compassion for others, but there's a level of compassion for ourselves that many are still seeking to master. That's been my journey recently. Compassion, love, acceptance for the self on a deep level that goes beyond words and cute, fuzzy affirmations that you feel deep within the core of your being. So we're activating that. We're unlocking that. We're releasing ourselves from the burden of societal expectation within that process. We're allowing ourselves to shine as our own unique being, allowing ourselves to take up some space, but in a way that encourages other people to do that as well, right? In a way that doesn't suck all the energy out of the room, but instead opens that up so that people feel this infinite amount of energy for them to also shine and become more of who they are and less of who they are not. All right, so this is big stuff. This is big stuff. This is our training. For some people, we are learning that and the energy of being calm within the storm, of staying grounded, of staying centered, even when there is chaos around us, right? Finding that internal anchor point is the way that Spirit wants to put it. That allows us to stay rooted, to stay grounded within this present moment. Accepting of whatever this moment brings. Not afraid, because we know God, source, whatever you want to call it, right? Not led astray because we know ourselves. We know our path in the sense that we know our purpose and we know that our higher selves and Spirit will continue to guide us along that path. We don't need to know what it looks like. We've let go of the need to know. We've let go of the need to control. This is the grooming process that's been occurring for those who are called to this path. For those who are still present for the completion of this reading, this is what you're doing right now. This is what's happening. This is how you're being groomed. This is how you're being molded. Jupiter on the 11th, to be that inspiration to the masses, to be that example, literally recoding the matrix, right? With possibility, with potential. It's big stuff, you guys. Big stuff. And then on the bottom of that, I love how we can just do a reading with these cards. Like there's so much to pull from these cards, right? With Saturn in the 12th house in Pisces, this energetic sensitivity. Spirit saying we have to be really, really vigilant at protecting our peace right now because we are so energetically sensitive. You know, I started talking about before the stream kind of got rebooted there about exploring peptides a little bit and having a weird physiological reaction because my nervous system and everything is so sensitive right now that I had to stop. That route wasn't meant for me right now. You know what I mean? It's like anything that we put into our bodies, anything that we put into our minds through what we're reading, what we're listening to, what we're watching, what we're engaging in, anything that we put into our spirits, anything that we absorb into our energy by who and what we're around, what we surround ourselves with, is going to impact us powerfully. So we have to be really vigilant about that. We need to be really careful. We need to be really powerful stewards of our peace right now. And know that we're doing this out of love. Not just love for other people, not just love for the collective, right? Because in order to be that lighthouse, we have to be able to stand strong and tall. But for ourselves as well. Out of love for ourselves. That's so important. Oh, Sophie, sending my condolences for your loss as your uncle transitions from one form to another. Just think he's getting a break, right now. He's getting a little, it's kind of like when our loved ones pass away at this point in this process, it's kind of like, almost like they're going away to a spa for a little bit, right? Like many of them will be rejoining us in what we term the new earth. In my perspective, all earths exist simultaneously. It's just what frequency we're aligning with, right? But we'll call it the new earth. We'll put it that way. They're just taking a little breather to reboot. So I literally am now imagining them like at a spa, just like, all right, I'm going to get some treatments, going to relax, clear my energy, kind of cleanse, purge, recalibrate, reboot before this next phase of the journey. And in this next phase of the journey, we're going to recognize them because we won't have all the layers of illusion and forgetfulness that we have now. Right? We're remembering, we're not going to forget because we're transitioning in form. Right? As this avatar or some version of this avatar. Yeah. Thank you. Sending you so much love. All right. Anything else? Just preparing because you have a message to share. Many of us have been receiving not just heart chakra, getting root sacral, but also solar, all the chakras, right? But throat chakra activations have been a big one. Because this is a collective who is meant to, many have a platform of some kind, doesn't have to be social media, but some type of platform, some type of way that your voice is heard, that your voice is shared, your wisdom, your guidance. And you don't have to figure out how that is, because for many, if you're drawn to be on social media or something like that, like you'll know, because you have that calling within you. If you don't, you're going to be invited, whether it's to, I don't even know, right? It's just, you're going to be invited to share your wisdom. You're going to notice those opportunities popping up, whether it's in a group or some type of organization that you're a part of, whether it's in your community, whether it's by a random person at the grocery store. All right. Your wisdom will be sought out. So you don't have to figure out how you're going to share. Just do it. If you have, do it when you're invited. And if you have a calling to share in another way, you already know, right? You already know there's a book that you've been thinking about writing, or maybe people keep bringing it up and you're like, why do people keep saying this to me? You know what I mean? Or like I said, you feel called to be on social media, something like that. Trust that. Trust the impulses of how you're guided to share your voice. And if you don't know yet, just know that you're going to be invited to share when the time comes. So just don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. There's a lot of those old healers' wounds, right? A lot of that when we've been harmed in the past, ostracized for speaking our truth, for sharing our gifts. There's still wounds around that. That's part of this throat chakra clearing. And we're really stepping into Neptune and Aries, I was feeling, as a really powerful aspect of the healing of the healer's wound, right? Because Neptune, spirit, higher consciousness, oneness, Aries, empowerment, right? So initiative. Neptune and Aries is going to be a whole other energy, let me tell you. Yeah. Oh, I love it. Yeah, I know, Johnny, your chart's crazy. Oh, all right. I'm feeling like this is a good space for completion for this reading. I'll get a couple of closing tarot cards here. Maybe I'll do a crystal card. I'm feeling my energy kind of waning. And so it's about recognizing and honoring those cycles within ourselves, right? All right, boom. That's all we needed to see. Empress and the Ace of Pentacles, incoming abundance. Be careful what you are manifesting. Or be mindful. I don't want to say be careful because that sounds like a warning, right? Be mindful of what you are thinking of, what you are dreaming, daydreaming about. Some of you guys, you're getting daydreams, you're getting desires implanted within your consciousness right now from your higher self, inspirations from your higher self. So recognize those when those come in. Take the time to get quiet, to meditate, to contemplate. Some of you have been alone for a long time, I'm hearing as well, in this sort of hermit's journey, this internal journey. And you're going to see more movement on the outside with people coming into your reality, connections as well. But Spirit's saying, like, take the time to visualize, take the time to daydream, take the time to write about your life, right? The life that you are creating. Take the time to be still. There's so much noise in the external world right now. Take that time to be still. That is the most important message that Spirit could impart to everyone on this live stream today and anywhere, right, in the world. Anyone and everyone. Yeah, I know. I was thinking about human design when I said that. Wait for the invitation, Johnny. It's funny. All right. Crystal. We're going to get one crystal card to close here. What crystal wants to work with us to assist us as we're moving through these energies, navigating these energies here? Ooh, one of my favorites, smoky quartz. We also have hematite underneath that. And tiger's eye. So this is all about protection, personal power, grounding in our will, grounding ourselves within our body, stabilizing our energy field. That is what's most helpful right now. We're going to read smoky quartz. Let's see. I always temporarily forget my alphabet when I start doing this. Trying to look things up here. There is light language on this card, so take that in. The Master Crystal Deva of Smoky Quartz is Uranumel. Uranumel. And that's funny. It makes me think of Uranus. We were just talking about Uranus. It says, all is a loving expression of the divine. Only perception and judgment can taint this fact. Have trust and I will lead by example, for my radiant light is hidden just as yours. Let fear fall away. Take my hand through the light-filled state of physicality and know there are no rights or wrongs, only love. No matter the bonds of physicality, the spirit will soar with or without your intent. Let me anchor self-trust and walk you to the cliff of times past, where you can willingly spread your wings. You will soar and God will walk the earth once more in your personal completion of physicality. You are and thus I am. Allow your newfound ways of light to ride the current of Earth's sacred pulse to your true home. The warm fires of spirit await you, burning bright even in your absence. Feel their warmth in your heart and offer it to the waiting world. Smoky quartz is quartz crystal that has encountered radiation naturally in the earth. This has allowed it to darken and become a smoky gray to black color. Nice pieces hold all the transparency and structure we expect of clear quartz, but its properties vary significantly, mainly due to its color and immense light-holding ability. Smoky quartz holds great light and retains the most profound frequency of all the darker minerals on the planet, earning it the simple purpose of earth light and healing. Tied to this are many of the lessons it holds for us, leading by example. Excuse me. It shows us that even the most mundane physical activities and manifestations hold purpose, and through their embrace and interaction, a chance for growth. The ungrounded, insecure, depressed, tired of life, fearful of change and failure symptom picture that smoky quartz aids is unfortunately quite common in our world. Thus, it is not surprising that most crystal shops have an abundance of pieces. The darker it is, the more light it holds. With smoky quartz at our side, we have a constant reminder of the divinity that lives in physicality and the blinding light that we ourselves represent in the universe. Confidence in this is at the heart of the stone's work. It encourages us to let go of our past and continue our journey forward, focused with a thirst for life and the changes that it offers, without getting pulled off course by the smaller complexities. Smoky quartz, with its ability to ground the spirit and all of its characteristics into the lower physical chakras, creates an acceptance of others, helping one to find the path of equality, balance, and unity. This dissolves the need to compete and judge, leading to a peaceful, calm, and present person that eventually chooses a path of service. In old Atlantis, the high priests and priestesses of smoky quartz were among the most powerful healers, holding a mastery over physicality that few other positions offered. Their healing ability with animals and plants was unequaled, and many revered people involved in shamanic practice and healing today are reincarnations of those beings. Smoky quartz was one of the most important stones worked with in the creation of Osiris towards the fall of Atlantis, and is thus a sacred stone of his, linking one powerfully to his energy and principles. Don't go to Egypt without smoky quartz. And I'm smiling because I have a special piece that I brought with me to Egypt. Ailments of sacral and pelvic areas of the body are relieved by this stone. It can help balance body fluids and may aid in the removal of excess radiation from the body after treatments, or we could say after just being out in this world today, right? If smoky quartz has come to you today, she is here to help with emotional healing and the redefinition of your physical space. She has come to aid you on an already active journey deep into the physical self to find the light that gives you life. Once recognized, you will shine that fire into the darkest areas of self. In smoky quartz's embrace, the darker and more physical, the better. To her, darkness is a measure of light content. Light that you can reclaim and use as fuel towards the goals and the happiness you have chosen for yourself. In the sacred embrace that is around you today, offer up all your darkest, most difficult, and pain-filled aspects. Leave no stone unturned. Let go and be free. Never again will you see physicality as separate from spirit, for it is the space of the supreme realization of united oneness. When an aspect of your physical world weighs heavily upon you, see a rose, perfect, gentle, and delicate, for it shares the same origin and source of life. If you will allow this, your life can become a glorious artwork, paving the united path to the supreme oneness with peace, love, and joy. And the affirmation for smoky quartz is, my physical world is filled with light. I love you all so much. Oh, I love that, Dee. Some of my favorite pieces are smoky quartz. I love, love, love it. It's definitely one of my power stones. Checking back through the comments again before we close. Oh, Sophie's wearing her hematite. Yes, look at that. That beautiful rainbow energy in the hematite card. I'm curious if it connects with the rainbow light body or multiple spectrums of color. Because don't they say black? White is the absence of color and black is all color. Isn't that how it's supposed to go? This is a great stone for grounding. Master of the color rays in form. Interesting. Naturally black or rust red. Silver when polished sometimes. This allows hematite to hold a secret. When scratched, it bleeds a red powder, which indicates its ability as a powerful grounding stone, carrying the red base chakra down into the silver earth star below the feet. This is one of the only stones able to activate the earth star, an out-of-body chakra that polarizes the soul into the body. The most powerful form of grounding available. Interesting. Let's see. Hematite makes its presence felt at all levels of self, from the physical to the spiritual, separating everything into levels and areas, making contents more identifiable and manageable. This ability allows true self-control and renders one able to take appropriate action in life experiences. It helps to desensitize the emotions so that one may become less reactive, to recognize the thought or the difference between thought and emotion, helping with self-discipline, understanding and discerning the true actions needed to be taken in situations. It anchors and grounds the spiritual light bodies in a balanced manner to the physical. All right, so this is helpful as we're moving through all of these energies with the solar flares and everything that's going on right now. It's so intense. It's so easy to disconnect from physical body. So this is going to help bring your energy, root your energy, ground your energy back into your physical body. All right, this is so important right now. Let's see. It's protective. It's shielding, all right? I love this. Revitalizes the blood and circulatory system, nervous system, okay? This is so powerful for us right now. And that Earth Star chakra. Let's see. Balancing the mental and emotional bodies. Remember, we talked about that as one of these levels of initiation here. United body and spirit, I am. That's the affirmation for hematite. So get yourself some smoky quartz. Get yourself some hematite. If you're really looking to harmonize your will and have that strength of will moving forward with anything, tiger's eye, that was underneath there, could be a good one as well. All right. Root, ground, hydrate, release. Embrace this portal of rebirth with this Scorpio new moon. All right, the incredible powers of regeneration are available to us in abundance right now. Regenerate your perspective. Right? As you allow your perspective to shift, to transform, your entire world transforms. And as your entire world transforms, our entire world transforms. I love you so much. I'll talk to you all soon. And actually, before we go, I wanted to see, I was curious, who was it that was talking about this total flip from what we were just saying? But someone was talking about castor oil on here. And I was curious if you're still on here. I believe it was Sky Dancer. Was it you that was talking about castor oil? I want to know how you use it, because I tried it, but it was too thick and heavy for my face and I didn't really feel it doing anything. And I played around with belly button oiling, but not really long enough to see results. So I'm curious. I know a lot of people use it for their hair as well, or their eyelashes. I'm just curious to see how you use castor oil, if you're still on here. I didn't want to go down that segue when we were in the middle of talking about everything else, but I did kind of tuck that away as a side note. And if you're not on here still, but you want to leave a comment about it, if you watch the replay, leave a comment for it too. I'm curious to see what you do with it, because I do hear that it is like a miracle for the skin. It just wasn't really working for me very well for my skin. My esthetician has me on a different regimen now. I was doing like a little bit of it with some jojoba oil, and that was kind of nice. It was Sky Dancer. Yeah. But I still wasn't, maybe it was too, I expect things like, this is still that impatient aspect of myself where I'm like, all right, it's been a week. It's been 2 weeks. It's not working. You know what I mean? Which is not really conducive to like holistic healing, right? Okay, Sophie's a big fan of it too. Now, what about just doing it like a couple times a week? Is that not enough? Like if you're using it on your face? That was really sour, the end of that. I'm just curious, all my wise healers on here, feel free to weigh in on that in the comments too, if anybody wants to, how you use your castor oil. Yeah, but Florida water is not meant to be used as a skin treatment, I don't believe. Florida water is more for cleansing, right? Like your space, your energy, I think. It's got a lot of alcohol in it, so I definitely wouldn't put it on my skin. I mean, I clear my hands with it before I do my cards. All right. I love you all. I'm going to go recharge. I got more stuff going on this evening. I'm going to go moisturize. My hands are feeling, I wonder if I could do the castor oil on my prune. Really? That's very interesting. You put Florida water on your face? What else do you do? I feel like this can't be good for your face. I mean, it's almost like pure alcohol. Denatured alcohol. I don't know what that means. Water, fragrances. This one that I have also has artificial colors in it, which was weird. I guess that's what gives it the green color. I don't know. Yes, I do know that, Sophie. It has to be hexane free. Pure. Yeah, I do know that. Yeah. Okay. Oh, this is the Florida water cologne. Maybe that's why. I'll have to look into what the other one is. I must not have even noticed or realized there was a difference. Oh, see, now I learned something today. I'm going to go check that out. I'm going to look into that for sure. Yeah. So I might try incorporating castor oil again. I have it. I got what I believe to be a really nice bottle of it. Take a nip. Michael. Oh boy. I mean, at the beginning of the thing, I was talking about how I got paranoid that I got it in my water. So maybe I did. I don't know. Could be why I'm feeling a little funky right now. Clear. Yes, I was reading something about frankincense. Frankincense and what else with the castor oil? Frankincense, and there was one other thing. Rose hip, maybe? But I was really drawn toward the frankincense, using that as a mask. Yeah. Something else. Maybe bentonite clay. Was there a mask that I was looking into with bentonite clay, frankincense, and castor oil? Clear. All right. Yeah, so I'll keep looking into more of those things too. Interesting. All right, guys. I love you. Clear. You're all beautiful. Hydrate, ground. Do all the things. Take care of yourself. Remember, we're on the on-ramp now. We have not merged onto the highway. All right, so remember, the speed on the on-ramp is not the speed that you drive when you get onto the highway. That's why many of us are being asked to slow down, all right, to what is a safe speed for where we are right now. This speed is not permanent. We will hit a higher speed once we really get going. All right, once we merge onto the road. So be patient. There's cars in front of you. They're dragging ass. It's okay. We will all merge onto the highway in perfect, aligned, divine time. All right. Bye.